Oh man, they gave me AC/DC? That was awesome. I should have taken my time walking up the stage. That was pretty good. You know, you get into that thunder, get everyone really, really fired up at the end. How are we doing, North Jersey? How's everybody? We feel good? We feel all right? We're in the home stretch now. This is the last thing left. I had an interesting conversation with somebody earlier today, and they asked me, when they found out I was the closing keynote speaker, they asked me, are you nervous about being at the end of the day? Are you anxious about being at the end of the day? You know, because it's a long day. There's a lot of information. People might be tired. Does that make you nervous? I said, no, absolutely not. What makes me nervous is being the last thing between 100 people and happy hour. That makes me nervous. So with that in mind, thank you for having me, and good night, everybody. No, it hasn't been a long day. It's been a good day, right? Your minds are full and probably a little fatigued. Your hearts are open. I've seen that on display today. And now we're in the home stretch. And after everything we've talked about, the tools and the techniques and the metrics and the things that make all of you so great at what you do, today we're going to completely change course now. In this final hour, we're going to talk about purpose. We're going to talk about not just what you do and how you do it, but why you do it. And this morning, first thing during networking, I got a great representation of exactly that. I said a moment ago, your hearts are open. Man, did I see that. I was networking with some of the vendors out there who did a phenomenal job today. And I'm speaking with one woman, and we're making small talk about something, and in comes one of her good friends, somebody that she told me she's known in the business for 20 years. They came up together, they started together, and they haven't seen each other in a while. And they went into a full-on power hug. The first thing I saw was the hug. The next thing, it was such a good hug, one of their earrings went flying off and landed on the table. That's how good of a hug it was. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is why you all do what you do. For these interpersonal connections, for these things that bring us together. It started my day off beautifully, and it gave me a story. And at the end of the day, a lot of what we do, we tell stories, or we get stories from the things that we do. One of my favorite things in the world, where are the folks who saw me at the Meadowlands back in November? Where are my friends from the Meadowlands? This is a great group, and I got so excited to be asked back once again to speak because of how great this group was and how much fun we had. Folks, what am I a big fan of in this world? What do I love to do? What do I love to watch? Game shows. Chris Fitzpatrick, professional speaker, MC, aspiring game show host. Okay? I love game shows. How many game show fans do I have in the room right now? Okay, what are our favorite game shows? Let me hear some. Jeopardy. I heard a Jeopardy right off the bat, and I love it. Who else? Wheel of Fortune. All right, can't have Jeopardy without Wheel. It's an institution. What else do we have? Family Feud. I love Family Feud. How many of you love Family Feud? How many of you would love to play Family Feud? Okay, we're not going to do that today. Sorry. No, legal won't let me. But we are going to play a game I like to call Top Answers. Top Answers is, to quote the great Alex Trebek, a portmanteau of Family Feud and Match Game. And I'm talking about the original Gene Rayburn 1970s Match Game, right? So what I need right now are my first 3 contestants to join me on stage. You're not going to be spectators. You're going to be participants. I need 3 individuals to come up on stage to play Top Answers. It's always hardest at the very beginning. Yes, my friend in the back whose hand went right up. Come on up. I need 2 more contestants. There we go. I knew I could count on you. So, and we got 3. Come on up, everybody. I have 3 contestants for Top Answers. Let's give them a round of applause. Here we go, everybody. And while our contestants are coming on stage, can we also take a moment and use some of that applause on our AV team over here? I only look and sound good because they make me look and sound good, which is why I want to bring them everywhere. right? Because I could use that sort of support on like a 24/7 basis. But y'all have done a fantastic job, and we really appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, I have contestants here, and is our mic going? All right, now I know who you are. You know I know who you are, but I want to make sure everybody out here knows who you are.
I am Jennifer from Carney Bank.
Jennifer from Carney Bank. Let's give Jennifer a round of applause. Jennifer was my first contestant back in November as well.
And I'm Erin from Valley Bank.
Erin from Valley Bank. Hello, Erin.
Noah from Sampo.
And I've got Noah, Jennifer, Erin, and Noah, our first three contestants. We're going to play a game called Top Answers. And Top Answers, I'm going to give each and every one of you one of these whiteboards. And here's what you're going to do. I'm going to put a question up on the screen, share it with everybody, and you are going to write down your top 5 answers. You get to come up with 5. I'll give you a couple minutes to come up with 5 answers to the question. And then at the end, after you've had a couple minutes, I'm going to put the top 6 answers on the board, and we're going to see how many answers you match. Now, the category is human skills for internal audit. Now, I want to take a moment to explain human skills. How many of you are well familiar and well acquainted with the term soft skills? You ever heard of soft skills? How many of you have heard of soft skills? I'm on a one human crusade to wipe that term off the face of the earth. Because the idea of soft skills, I love the idea of the skills, but by calling them soft skills, we inherently almost make them seem as though they're less important or that they're less impactful than the quote-unquote hard skills or the technical skills, when in fact, they can be a lot more impactful in the long run. So we call them human skills. And it's important to also delineate human skills now because I think you guys have heard a little bit about AI today. Has that come up in conversation at all throughout the day? I think 1 or 2 people mentioned it, right? These are skills that are inherently human. They're very difficult to replace with technology. So your category is human skills, and here is your question. Now, I did an analysis, because that's what we do in internal audit. We do analyses, right? And I looked at job postings, about 20 job postings for internal audit positions at a variety of levels. And I analyzed which human skills appeared most often in those job postings. So when one of your companies or a company out there needs somebody for their internal audit team, what are the human skills that they put on the board? I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write 5 human skills, non-technical skills. And if you want to go out to your teammates in the crowd and have them help you, that's okay too. Can you all support our contestants? We feel good about that? All right. 2 minutes are on the clock. I need your top 5 answers. You all can go out into the crowd and get some help. I will call you back up as soon as we are ready. All right, 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go. Jennifer is already coming back on stage. "45 seconds. Noah went to a second table. He was at one table, he left that table, he went to another table. Noah's coming back up on stage. Is that a confident power walk? You feel good about? Okay. All right, Erin, 15 seconds. Now I know why y'all were laughing. All right, IIA, let's give them a round of applause. They're back on stage. Let's see what we've got. Now, one at a time, I'm going to reveal each of the top 6 answers. And if you have a match, just put a check mark next to it, and that means you get 1 point. Whoever has the most points at the end will win the game. Sound good? All right, first of all, IIA, are there any thoughts you have as to what you think might be the number 1 answer? Communication. We have communication. That's a good guess. Okay. Hey, keep those pen caps on. I don't want to see any cheating now. Okay, there we go. Shouting out some answers. Leadership. Okay. Organizational skills. What else do we think? Was it? Negotiation skills. I like that one. All right. Well, let's see our number 1 answer. This appeared by far on the most job postings for internal audit, and it's collaboration and teamwork. If you got teamwork or collaboration, collaborative, very good, you get a point, right? Nobody in here works on an island. You all work as part of a team. You work as part of a network. And almost every post wanted to see collaboration and teamwork. Number 2, communication. Communication is a great answer. Terrific call out. This is why you walked up so confidently. You got 2. All right, so I don't know if it was the first table or if it was making the change to the second table. Something really worked for Noah. All right? Is what teamwork? It is not. It is not. But thank you for asking. That is a good guess. All right, communication. You got communication at 2 for 2. Yeah. Jennifer, how we doing?
1 for 2.
1 for 2. Okay, there's still a lot of game to go. We have 4 more to go. Critical thinking and problem solving. Nope.
Okay, wait.
Oh, okay, wait. Sidebar. Excuse me. You're still 2 for 3. I think you're doing great. Okay. I think you're doing great. How are we looking? All right, you got critical thinking verbatim. Very good. All right. Jennifer's back in the game. Back in the game. Number 4, project management skills. Aaron, you got that one? And you're the only one. I think you just pulled ahead. Organized. If you think organized is project management, give me a hand up. If you don't think so, put your hand up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We can't accept it. But it's still, look, what do they say on Family Feud, right? Good answer. Good answer. Even when it's not. It's a good, but that was a good answer. All right. Number 5, integrity and ethics. Ethics? Ethics? Ethic? Maybe that's why it was only 25%. All right, intake. I know why. It's because we all just assume 100% of the time across the board that is a necessity, and the 3 of you got that. So everyone gets a point. Everybody gets a point for assuming that is going to be part of it. Like Oprah, you get a point, and you get a point, and you get a point. All right, last answer is the last chance to score a point. Leadership and mentoring. Do we have leadership and mentoring? Okay, I mean. It's our second one of the I means. What do you got?
Influence without authority, which is persuasion.
Different skill.
It's kind of the same. I can make a strong argument.
Let me say, negotiation skills are strong. You were 100%, you get a point for negotiation. I am impressed. All right, tally up your points. Noah, you got what, 3? Okay. Aaron, 3?
Yeah.
3? Oh my gosh. A dance-off. I love that idea. Here's the thing. If there is one thing I will tell you, I always bring enough prizes. So we're going to send all 3 of them home winners. All right? But let's go back to our number 1 answer. Our number 1 answer was teamwork and collaboration. Who had that? 2 of you did? Okay. And who had communication? All 3 of you did? Okay. Then what was that? Let's see. Then critical thinking, problem solving? Analytical. All right. I'm going to give you half credit for analytical. And I'm going to show you why. Noah's getting half a point. All right. I'm sending you all home with a book. I'm very big on Simon Sinek. So Noah, you get a copy of Start With Why. Talk about purpose. Talk about finding that thing inside of us that drives us to do what we do. You get a copy of Find Your Why. I've given you like half of my library already. I'm giving you a copy of The Trusted Advisor. Ooh. Yes, more on that in just a little bit. But since we gave Noah that half point, I think we need to do a little something extra for you, Noah. Can we all agree that that was a championship effort on the part of our 3 contestants? Well, where I come from, ladies and gentlemen, when we have a championship effort, champions get belts. So Noah is going to wear our championship belt for the first half of our presentation until our closing game. Noah, you get to wear this proudly, take photos, send it to your friends, be menacing, do whatever you want to do. Can we give all three of our contestants a big round of applause, please? Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. You can return to your seats. That is fun. I love it. Noah looks good with that belt. Right? He's got a strut to him. That's a lot of fun. All right? So we talked about the skills that make us great at what we do. Right? We know what to do. We know how we do it. But purpose is why we do it. It's what makes it important. And here's the thing that I really want everyone to carry with them, is that what you do matters. You matter. Internal audit matters incredibly. I am not an internal auditor. You all have forgotten more about this topic than I will ever learn. Right? But I have learned over the last several months that I've been involved with this great organization just how much you know, how good you are at what it is that you do. But you also need to stay connected to why you do it. Yesterday, I'm getting my stuff in my car. I checked into the hotel last night, and my 9-year-old son, Liam, was a little upset that I wasn't going to be around last night because we have our reading time tonight, every single night. I'll get home in time tonight, which is good. But his godparents, for his 9th birthday, which was back on March 11th, his godparents got them this doodle pen. And the doodle pen takes this plastic string and you can make it into different, you know what it is? It's the gateway drug to a 3D printer, right? Which I know is now what's coming up for Christmas. But he made me this little blue and red circle with his little doodle pen. And he said, I want you to take this with you. And I caught myself asking, well, what does it do? And then I thought to myself, it doesn't really matter what it does. It can have absolutely no function in the world. This is my purpose. This represents why I do the things I do. That connection I have with my son. Those things that make me feel as though I'm doing something important or that I'm doing something impactful by being a good role model to him. This represents my purpose. And all it is a circle made of plastic. Our purpose can be a small token. It can be something much grander, but what it is intensely personal to us. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to reconnect with purpose. And there are 6 pillars that I put together just for this group. Now here's something I will tell you is, I know you may be tempted to write these down, and you can feel free to. You can take pictures of the slides, that's fine. But at the end of the presentation, I'm going to put a slide up with a QR code. I'm going to ask everybody for their feedback. Your feedback is very important to me as a speaker, as a professional, and to share that with the IIA North Jersey chapter. I want to let them know what you all thought about this session. And when you do that for me, when it's complete, you will get a PDF with this slide and the next 6 slides that go over each of those different pillars. So I will give this to you just for providing feedback. Sound good? All right. So these are our 6 pillars: trust, clarity, courage, stewardship, service, and leadership. Now you'll notice only 2 of them, trust and leadership, directly align with one of the skills we talked about. Purpose is not always the same as skill, right? Again, purpose is the why, and the skill is the how or the what. And in some cases, they overlap. But 4 out of 6, they don't. And I want to share with you some thoughts on each of these 6 different pillars. By the way, any surprises up here? Any of these pillars shock you, or that you're surprised to see up there? Anything you're surprised that you don't see? You may have your own pillars. It doesn't have to be these 6. But from what I've learned about internal audit, these 6 apply almost across the board to everybody. So we'll start with trust. If there's anything that we have learned throughout history, trust is not something we can take for granted. We deal with this sometimes when our kids are growing up and they're testing their limits, and we tell them for years, just be honest with me. Just be honest with me. Tell me the truth. There's nothing we can't handle. Tell me the truth. And they do something at some point that shakes that foundation of trust. And there's that unfortunate conversation we have where we say, it's going to take me a little while to trust you with this again. Right? Trust can get shaken even in a family setting. In business, trust can not just be shaken, it can be shattered. How many examples have we seen over the last, let's say, 30 years of organizations that betrayed public trust and never recovered, or were never the same again, and they had that stigma attached to them for decades if they survived that erosion of trust? Trust takes years, even decades to earn, but it can be lost in moments. That is why what you do is so important. Part of your purpose is to maintain your organization's trust with stakeholders, whether that's employees, customers, or the very communities in which you serve. You don't slow things down. You're not obstructionists. You are there to make sure that trust is maintained. My favorite portion of this slide is the fourth line there where it says, audit ensures promises remain intact. Promises remain intact, because if you break a promise because of something related to ethics, it will be very hard to get that trust back again. This is a critical, critical pillar. I love this last one. You are guardians of credibility. I don't think Marvel is going to pick this up. I think it sounds like it would make a really cool series on Disney+. Guardians of credibility. But we'll just stick for this just being an internal audit thing for now. As far as I'm concerned, you own that, right? You guys are the guardians of credibility. Number 2, clarity. What we do is not always clean. What we do does not always make sense. Part of my journey with this organization has just been learning the language and understanding the things that you talk about and the things that you do. But you are clarifiers. Part of your purpose is to make sure that individuals from within the organization and outside the organization understand critical information so that way they can make decisions. I've heard a lot today about risk and governance. And that second line, that third line, I've heard a bunch say, the risks are always evolving. 20 years ago, did we think as much about cybersecurity as we do today? No, of course not. Early this morning, I heard a breakout speaker talking about phishing, about the examples of phishing tests and making sure that employees know what to look for, right? The misspelled words. I go through that training every year at my organization. I didn't 7 years ago, because the risks are constantly evolving. And you all provide clarity. You reinforce the structures in the best way possible. And when we heard communication earlier as a critical skill for internal audit, I couldn't agree more. Communication would be at the top of almost any list. Now, my folks from November, you've heard this piece before, so I'm going to ask you to hold on to this one. For my new people, this will be different material. There are 4 ways in which we communicate, 4 primary methods of communication where we can provide clarity. What are the 4 ways in which we communicate? Shout them out. I heard verbally, right? We communicate verbally. The words we use, the speed at which we speak, the volume, not just what we say, but the stuff that used to get me in trouble with my mom when I was 10, right? It's not what you said. It's how you said it. Now all of a sudden I'm grounded, right? What's the second one? We have verbal. What else? Oh, written. We skipped right to written. Very good. Your written communication, right? So this is anything that you put on paper. These are your emails. This is your online presence, whether it's a LinkedIn or any other social media. A text message, that's your written communication. And clarity in written communication is incredibly important. I love to tell this story. I spent a long time in talent acquisition, early career talent acquisition. And I had a coworker at a prior organization. Her name's Jennifer. And she was confirming a college student with an interview for an internship. Sends him an email that says, you're going to meet me at this place, this time, and here are all the details that you need for your interview. And he has his iPhone, he gets his iPhone out, and he types back, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you soon. Does anybody have any problem with that response? It's good, right? Professional, to the point. He wanted to respond very quickly to show he was interested. There's just one problem. He spelled one word wrong. But that's okay, because his iPhone comes with autocorrect. Not even spell. If it were spell check, this story's not as good. If it's spell check, he could have fixed it. No, it was autocorrect. The iPhone said, I know what you're trying to say. Don't worry about it. Take this one off. I've got you. And what he ends up sending to Jennifer in response to his interview is a note that says, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to sleeping with you soon. Jennifer, to her everlasting credit, forwards that email to the rest of the talent acquisition team, but she changes the subject line to, I hope he buys me dinner first. And I have told this story hundreds of times. It is my favorite story to tell. But that is the importance of written communication and not depending on tools like autocorrect to proofread anything that you put onto paper or go into cyberspace. So we have verbal communication, we have written communication, we have two more. What are they? Nonverbal communication. Excellent. Nonverbal communication. This is your body language. This is your posture. This is your eye contact. This is your smile. All of the things that surround the words that we say. And there are studies out there that say that nonverbal communication can be anywhere from 55 to 85% of what people remember when they are communicating with you. People will remember the nonverbal stuff oftentimes more than the words you say. All right? There's one more left. And again, my November 20th people, you already know this. So let's see if everyone else can get it. What's the fourth way we communicate? It's always the hardest one, every crowd I speak to, right? Because we think about how we communicate outwards. How many football fans do I have in here? How many football fans, right? You have the greatest quarterback in the world. Quarterback throws the ball down the field, wide receiver paying no attention, not even looking at the play. Ball hits the ground. How many yards did they gain? How many points did they score? If you only trained your quarterback and never your receivers, how good do you think that team's going to be? Because it's not just about who's delivering the message, it's about who's receiving it too. So what is that fourth communication style? Listening. Active listening, intentional listening, listening to understand and not just to hear. Your listening skills are critical. And when you communicate effectively, verbally, non-verbally, in writing, and by listening to others, you help provide clarity to your organizations. That is part of your purpose. Courage. I almost want to say that in the Cowardly Lion's voice from The Wizard of Oz, but my throat's too dry. I can't pull it off today, right? Courage. Right? You're brave people. It's not easy to have some of the conversations that you have. That's why they're called difficult conversations. If there were easy conversations, we wouldn't have training modules on them. Like thousands of training modules on them. It's not hard to say the hard thing. And what's right is not always easy, and what's easy is not always right. That is one of the facets of the purpose of the individuals in this room that make you all so good at what you do and make you so special at who you are and what you do for your organizations, is that you have to be courageous. You have to be brave. Sometimes you have to have the difficult conversation. It's not always easy. You have to somehow balance being independent but not detached. You have to balance being objective while also being empathetic. You have to be able to be honest without being adversarial. A lot of what you do is about tremendous balance. And it takes courage to remain in that sort of balance day in, day out. Stewardship. I heard a great story. One of our earlier speakers talked about doing a college event with a room full of students who had no idea what internal audit was. And he talked about all of the fascinating things that the industry does, all the things you find out, all the different parts of it, whether it's fraud or whether it's governance and risk prevention. And at the end of it, there was a line, like 20 deep, of people wanting to have a follow-up conversation with him because now all of a sudden they were interested in the path that they hadn't thought of before. That's the future of the industry, could be the future of your organization. As stewards of internal audit, you are responsible not just for the present, although you are, but also for the future. How strong and how deep is the bench? Long-term health, not short-term ease. It's not just about deadlines, it's about decades. Are the practices sustainable? Are they scalable? And are we going to be able to protect a reputation that's going to carry us 10, 20, 30 years into the future? And are other people going to want to step up into our example? Stewardship is part of purpose. Service. I frequently will say that I don't care what department or what team somebody is on in an organization, everybody is in the customer service business. Everybody somehow is a service provider, whether that's an internal customer, an external customer, both. We all have stakeholders, and we all need to provide value to those stakeholders. That is one other key facet to the purpose of internal audit. You benefit key stakeholders by doing the things that you do. It's not about trying to catch somebody doing the wrong thing. That's a misnomer. That's a misconception. And by the way, I've been in human resources for 20 years. It is a misconception we share, right? The idea that people have about HR, the number of times I've heard somebody say to me, well, when push comes to shove, you're not on the employee side, you're on the organization side, because everything's got to be adversarial. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. You can be both. You can have multiple stakeholders. It's not about playing gotcha, but it's about making sure the right things are being done in time and the right decisions are being made. You support the leadership and you support the employees and you support the customers. You are in a service profession. No matter what level you're at, you are incredible customer service providers. And number 6 is leadership. Now I want to pause here. I want to do a little experiment with the room, all right? On the topic of leadership, because I know that one was a lot of people shouted that one out earlier when we were talking about the skills, right? Really quick, could all of my leaders in the room please stand up? All my leaders in the room, please stand up. You know who you are. Go ahead, don't be shy. I'm not going to call you up on stage. There's not a game attached to this. Okay. So we're about a third of the room standing. About a third of the room? Okay. All right, so these are our leaders. Okay, interesting. Okay, everyone can sit back down. Have you ever worked for a manager in your life who you would say had no leadership skills whatsoever? I want you to think about your worst boss. Just think, don't say it, especially if they're in the room. I don't want to be responsible for that. Think about the ineffective bosses that you've had at any point in your lives. By show of hands, how many of you have ever had a manager who you would say was not an effective leader? Almost everybody. Wow. Okay. I wish that surprised me. It doesn't. How many of you have known individuals who were tremendous leaders but had no direct reports? More than half of you. Leadership is not synonymous with management. They are not the same thing. Leadership is not only restricted to individuals with direct reports. As leaders, you build trust, you set a good example, you influence stakeholders. Influence came up a lot in our skills game earlier about the ability to influence others in a positive way. You can be a leader without having a title that comes with direct reports or comes with management. So with that in mind, let's try this one more time. Will all of my leaders in the room please stand? Doesn't matter your job title. If you do these things, you are a leader. All right, you can take your seats. This is the second major facet that I want to talk about today. We talked a lot about purpose. But I also want to talk about this. We are all leaders in some way. We are all responsible for leadership. One of the most fascinating takeaways that I got with that skills analysis that I did, that we played that game on at the very beginning, was that many of the jobs that specifically called out leadership and mentorship were not for manager, director, or VP level roles. A lot of the leadership topics, a lot of the leadership skills that were being sought were for individual contributors. So they weren't tied just to individuals with direct reports. And here's a quote that I absolutely love about this exact idea. by a gentleman named Scott Clary. And the quote says, "The clearest sign that someone has real authority in an organization isn't their title. It's whether people call them when something goes wrong before it becomes a crisis. That early call is a form of trust that has to be earned and can't be assigned." We can all say, as bosses, as managers, as leaders, if something goes wrong, come to me. Tell me about it. But we have to create that environment. We have to create that safe space. We have to provide psychological safety for individuals to feel that they can come to us and that they can let us know about an issue before it spirals out of control. Because when individuals fear their managers, when they fear the people in power, they distance themselves from those crisis situations. And those crises get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then they become out of control. And that manager is left wondering, how come nobody told me? How come I didn't know about this? I could have done something. You probably could have done something over the last several years, building trust with your team. It is incredibly impactful on other people's lives, your colleagues, your friends, anybody. Regardless of your job title, if you can be the kind of leader in their lives that they trust to go to in times of crisis or in times of celebration. All right? So in the idea of we are all leaders, I split this into 4 distinct groups, and there are different ways that each and every one of us can be a leader in our organizations. Can all my individual contributors just raise their hands? If you have no direct reports, you are an individual contributor in the internal audit world. Good number of people. Outstanding. All right? For my individual contributors, you all demonstrate courage. You are leaders in your bravery. You communicate with clarity. You let people know what they need to know, and you ask great questions, and you listen to the information. You build trust through integrity. You connect your work to your purpose, and you seek out self-development and opportunities to be lifelong learners, just like you're doing today. All right? My manager, so anybody who is a manager, senior manager, director level, raise your hands. Okay? Another good group of the room. All right. So all of the same things that we have under individual contributors still apply. But now, for managers, you will model professionalism to those other individuals in the organization. Right? There's this concept called model the way. Being a positive influence and a good role model. Coach beyond compliance. Right? Being able to coach somebody not just on their professional or their technical skills, but on those human skills or on that mindset and that attitude that they bring to an organization. You translate it and distill it into the organizational strategy. You empower others. That's really important. You empower them to make decisions, ask questions, do what they think needs to be done, and you train, you mentor, and you develop them. That is how you as managers can be outstanding leaders. Now, my senior leaders in the room, these are senior director, VP, executive level, chief audit officer, everybody who's in a executive level or a senior leadership role, hands up. Let me see. We have a good group. Okay? We have a few in the room as well. All the other 2 groups still apply, but now establishing high standards within your organization. Building your auditors as advisors, making sure that they come to you with information and that they understand that you trust them to bring critical information to the table. Allocate the resources that are needed for the organization to succeed. This is my favorite one. Champion ethics as a strategy. Ethics is not a skill, I don't think. I think it's a strategy. It is a brilliant business strategy. People go out of their way to do business with organizations they trust. I know I do. And reinforce the meaning behind what your teams do. And then for my good friends at the IIA, the Institute of Internal Auditors, you have roles yourselves. You advocate for the audit industry. This group does this incredibly well. I've seen over the last 6 months that I've been working with this organization. You elevate standards all across the industry. You provide opportunities for education. We see that on display today. You empower your members and you reinforce their purpose. It keeps coming back to the purpose. We know you can do what you do, and we know you can do it well. But we want you to remember why you do it and why it's important. And that brings us to the 3rd major takeaway that I want to focus on, and that's the idea that meaning is more important than metrics. Not to say that metrics aren't important. Metrics are critical. Metrics are very important. But if we can connect honest to God meaning to what we do, it will change the game. So I'll share a story, kind of a parable. There are two carpenters. Both carpenters have roughly the same amount of experience. They have an incredible degree of skill. They're very good at what they do. They read instructions and blueprints, and both of them are equally capable in building a very nice house. Their tools are outstanding. Their saws are sharp. Their hammers are strong. Their screwdrivers are screwy. I don't fix things, I break things, right? The tools are the same. You have two people of equal competence with equal tools. Carpenter number one focuses on those tools and those plans and those processes and builds a very nice home, a competent home, a home that any one of us would be fine living in. But carpenter number two puts their passion into it and builds the best home possible. Carpenter 2's home has more attention to detail and was built with more energy and fervor and passion than carpenter number 1's home. Why? Because carpenter number 1 is focusing on the processes and the tools, while carpenter number 2 is thinking about the family that's going to live in that house. The focus is on why they're doing what they're doing. Trust the tools. Trust the processes. Believe that your training and your experience will carry you where it needs to carry you, but stay focused on why you do what you do. And then every project becomes a passion project. How many of you are familiar with a term called Goodhart's Law? How many of you have ever heard of Goodhart's Law? A couple people, I saw 2 or 3 hands, right? I just learned about this recently when I was researching this presentation. Now, Goodhart's Law, there was a British theorist. He focused on monetary policy named Charles Goodhart. And he said in the mid-70s, so this theory is 50 years old, 51 years old. And his quote is, "Any observed statistical regularity will tend to collapse once pressure is placed upon it for control purposes." What that means is, when a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. When the metric becomes the goal, when all we want to do is just accomplish the metric, then people start finding ways to accomplish the metric and lose sight of the purpose. This is why it can be very difficult to design really effective compensation plans if there's an incentive behind them, because individuals will find ways to manage to the number to maximize compensation. But what studies show is that your best employees, your most engaged employees, aren't necessarily going to be the ones who have the most competitive compensation package. It's going to be the ones that tie their work to their purpose and what they're passionate about and what's important to them, their value system. So Goodhart's Law in internal audit looks a little something like this. You focus on meaning. You focus on purpose, leadership, providing value to others, and why what you do is indispensable in your industry and at your organization. You are going beyond the checklist. You're not chasing quotas, you're not ticking boxes, and you're not looking at superficial targets. Your metrics are a guide to the purpose that you are trying to accomplish. Your meaning goes beyond your metrics. So to bring us home, when we're talking about mission, meaning, and metrics, we played a game to start, and I've got one more game to play with this group, and I want to give out one more prize. Can we do that? Do we feel good about one more game in this room? We are going to play a game called Playing the Percentages, and I need 4 contestants to join me on stage for Playing the Percentages. Let's see if we can have another prize. I got you, Marty. All right, here we go. Playing the Percentages. Now, here's what we're going to do. How many of you ever watched an old game called Card Sharks? Any Card Sharks fans? That one is not as popular as Family Feud and all that, but I always enjoyed that game. It's a high-low game. Hi there. There we go. And can we let everyone know who you are?
Francine.
Hi, Francine. Francine is with us. Give Francine a round of applause, please.
Eden.
Eden, my good friend from November. It's good to see you, Eden.
Mike.
Mike.
Marty.
And Marty. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, everybody. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to have Eden and one more time. Francine. Francine and Eden are going to play round 1, right? And then it's Mike and Marty are going to play round 2. And then we will have a championship round between our 2 winners. I'll give you one of those. Okay. And here you are, Eden. And here you are, Marty. Marty, you mind if I hand you the eraser? You take it? Thank you so much. All right, now here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put a question on the board, and one of our contestants is going to write a percentage on their whiteboard, anywhere from 0 to 100. And the other player is going to try and decide whether the correct answer is higher or lower. If that individual is correct, they will stay on the stage. If not, then the individual who guessed the percentage will stay on the stage. Then we will have 2 players left, and we will have a best-of-3 championship round. Okay? There you are, Francine, Eden, Mike, and Marty. So if we're playing the percentages, we're talking about mission, meaning, and metrics. Eden, will you be our guesser? Will you write our percentage down in the first round here? Sure. All right, so Eden will write a percentage down. Francine, all you got to do is decide if you think the correct answer is higher or lower. Okay? Not double advance this. All right, first question. According to the IIA's 2025 Pulse of Internal Audit, it's a great read. Everybody knows this, right? What percentage of respondents said that internal audit was almost fully aligned or fully aligned with organizational strategy? According to the IIA's 2025 Pulse of Internal Audit, what percentage of respondents said internal audit was almost fully aligned or fully aligned with organizational strategy? Anywhere from 0 to 100. No decimal points. Round it to the nearest whole number. Eden says 40%. How do we feel about 40%? Do you think it's higher? Do you think it's lower? Francine, you just got to give me an arrow or a higher or a lower. Let us know what you think. Do you think it's higher or lower?
I think it's lower.
All right, so show us a down arrow or lower. Oh, you wrote a number. All right, she wants bonus points. I see how we're doing. I see what we're doing here. Said 35, all right? How many of you think the correct answer is higher? How many of you think the correct answer is lower? Oh, we're almost split. That's interesting. Correct answer is 54%. Not lower, higher. 50, so better than half thought that internal audit was aligned with organizational strategy. But at the same time, 46% said no. So there's opportunity there too. Eden, you stay on and play in the championship round. Francine, can we have a round of applause for Francine? Thank you, Francine. I appreciate you coming up. Mike and Marty, here we go. Mike, would you write the percentage? Sure. And Marty, you can do the high-low? All right. Mike, here's your question. According to that same study, what percentage of chief audit executives said communication was a top 5 skill they most wanted to improve? Going back to our skills discussion, what percentage of chief audit executives said that communication was a top 5 skill they wanted to improve?
So this is the CAE saying
yes. Saying that they thought communication was the skill that had the most room to improve. Top 5. You can write a percentage anywhere from 0 to 100. You look nervous. You all right? No, just deep in thought? Okay. Let's give Mike some encouragement. He's trying to come up with something. He's going to be really intense about it. Watch him get it exactly right. That surprise anybody? All right, what'd you say? 35%. Said 35%. Marty, you wrote that arrow really fast. Show everybody what do you think it's higher or lower? What's your response? It's double. You say it's double that. He wrote the study, of course, so he knows, right? He says it's higher. All right. Do you agree with Marty that it's higher? How many of you are with Mike? You think it's 35 or lower? Sorry. It's always good to know where the family sits. Yeah. Right? That's great. 53%. Not a lot higher, but a little bit higher. So, Marty, you're correct.
No, I had a feeling it was lower than that.
You thought it was low? Okay.
Well, I was going to do 50, but I was going to go lower.
I thought it was going to be a lot higher than that, but 53%. Still better than half. Can we give Mike a round of applause for joining us? Thank you so much, Mike. Oh, here we go. Marty and do we need the eraser? We good? We're clear? All right, outstanding. This last round, championship round, ladies and gentlemen, is best of 3. All right? Ed, I'm going to ask you to do the percentage on the first one. Marty, I'm going to ask you to do the percentage on the second one. If you are tied after 2 rounds, then we will do a round where whoever's closer will win. Okay? Question number 3. According to Gallup, what percentage of employees feel strongly connected to their organization's mission or purpose? Oh, people in the audience have thoughts on this one. Evan, what percentage of employees feel strongly connected to their organization's mission or purpose?
That's a good number.
All right, Eden says 65%. Oh, we have thoughts. Hold on. Where was this energy when I needed contestants? Now everyone's an expert. 65%. Marty, higher or lower?
I'm going to go with the audience.
You're going with the audience saying lower. All right. I played this game with a different group recently where somebody had written something like 93%. And I had to explain that you're not exactly playing the averages here. You're giving them a lot of room to go lower if they say lower. But that's a good strategy, right in the middle, 65%. 32. Marty, did you say lower? You said lower, and you were right. Lower by half. Half of it. Ed, I love how optimistic you are.
Very cup half full.
Cap is almost overflowing at 65%, right? But no, less than a third of employees felt connected to their organization's mission or purpose. What a gap. What an opportunity we have to reconnect our purpose with our work when 2/3 of our employees think that we don't do it. Are you ready for round 2? Yeah. There's still a lot of game to play, Eden. Yeah. Don't let him walk away with the belt. I'll never see it again. Marty, you are going to write the number this time. Eden is going to give us an arrow. Question 4. I'm very careful about this because I double advanced it once and gave away the answer. According to Gallup's reporting on purposeful work, what percentage of employees with strong work purpose feel engaged in their work? So we're looking at the correlation between work purpose and employee engagement. Marty, what percentage? These are just the employees who reported feeling a strong sense of purpose. You wrote those numbers big, 76. 76, that's the spirit. That's an old Three Stooges joke. My uncle will be happy about that one. And you think so? All right. And what do you think? You say?
I say high.
You say higher than 76. Gonna go against the grain. I almost just want to leave it on a cliffhanger and send everyone home. It's like, you'll find out next year, ladies and gentlemen. Now I know you'll have me back. How many of you agree with Eden that it's higher than 76? 4 or 5 people. How many of you say lower? It is lower. 50% surprised me as well. Purpose, but think about it this way. You can engage half your employees strictly by focusing on connecting with purpose. There's a lot more to it, but that's still a powerful motivator, right? It's still important to have purpose as a baseline, but there's more work to be done, right? There's more beyond that. So now if I'm correct, I believe that means that you're up 2-0. We did not, all right, we're going to play the third round, but that means Marty's going to be our winner. All right, Eden, I want to get you on the board here. All right, so we're going to have a fifth question. You're both going to write a percentage, and whoever's closest will take the third point. According to the same study, what percentage of employees with low work purpose feel engaged in their work? 50% of the people with high work purpose felt engaged. What is the percentage of individuals with low work purpose who reported feeling engaged? I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not higher than 50%. So you're both going to write a percentage, and we're going to see who's closest. $17 and $30. All right, 17 and 30. How many of you think that Marty is closer with 17%? How many of you think Eden is closer with 30%? I adore this about her. 9. I feel like Julianne Moore in Crazy Stupid Love. 9? If you've seen the movie, you know. Less than 10%, if they don't connect their work with their purpose, they are not engaged. Marty takes it 3-0. Let's give Marty a round of applause. Thank you very much. Good game, Eden. That is wonderful. All right, so Marty, you get a choice. I got a copy of Mindset by Carol Dweck, one of my all-time favorites, and I've also got a copy of The Element, How Finding Your Passion Changes Everything by Ken Robinson. You get to choose.
Go with your favorite.
You go with Mindset, and you are going to win a copy of The Element. And Noah, let's bring the belt up here for Marty. I'll take the boards.
We'll swap. We'll read them.
Perfect. Book club, they're going to read and swap. I love it. Marty's our new champion. Let's give it up for Marty. And to both of our contestants. And we'll grab pictures. Anybody can take pictures with the belt afterwards. We'll be in front of the step and repeat. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you both so much for playing. You can go back to your seats as we wrap up. Those are some surprising statistics, right? I want to thank this group. I want to thank the IIA for the trust that you put in me to come here and speak to this group. This group is a lot of fun. This group has a lot of passion. This group has a lot of purpose. And at the end of the day, I talk a lot about fanship. And every single time I interact with this group, I become a bigger and bigger fan of the Institute of Internal Auditors. So I hope everyone has a lot of fun this evening. I hope everyone gets home safe. Thank you, and please take out your phones, use this QR code. Your feedback is important to me. Thank you so much for having me here in Woodbridge for your conference. I hope you had as much fun as I did.